Hello, welcome back to the channel. We are on the unceded territory of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh people, and I'm grateful to be able to live, work, and play on these beautiful lands. It is a special day because today I'm going to be trying out the high aspect Armstrong 1525, and I'm switching it out because I want to try to get break my own personal records with pumping. And with this high aspect ratio foil, I'm hoping to be able to go for minutes rather than the number of pumps. So up until now, I've done 50 pumps was my max, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to really blow past that record with this high aspect foil. It is 120 centimeters wide, and I think the high aspect ratio is 9.5, so that cord is really thin and it's really wide to give it speed and glide and pumpability. It does have a bit of a curve, and then at the ends it kind of tips upwards, so I think that's for when you're winging or anything else, if you're jibing and tacking to help with the turning. But I was out a few days ago. I went for about 30 minutes, and my initial thoughts were it wasn't even worth filming. It was like my second day. If you go back to my learning how to dock start videos, it was just, I was jumping on and I was really just trying to find that precise landing balancing point. I did find that it was a little bit twitchier laterally than the HS1850, but it was just my first day, and you know, I don't have a ton of experience foiling, so take it with a grain of salt. We're gonna go again today. We're gonna just let the camera roll, and we're gonna just hope that I can push that log over, because that log out there is directly in my line. So I'm gonna try to initially shoot through that little gap, and then I'm gonna try to push that log over so I can have an easier launch. All right, let's do this. What I'm first gonna do is I'm probably gonna just try jumping on the board and gliding for a little bit and figure out my foot positioning. Okay. Okay, as you can see from that first takeoff, it feels really different from my 1850, and I'm just trying to get used to it. The dock is a little bit awkward because it has that, right at the end, it has the spot where people can get up back onto the dock from the water. So it just makes it trickier because I have to make sure that I don't smash into it when I launch. Something else that I've noticed is that even at low speeds, it really wants to go. You just have to adjust your weight, and you can feel the foil it wants to lift. Yeah, if you just glide and you don't have to do very much, and you could feel that foil really wanting to go. It's a unique feeling. Yeah, people do say when you're switching to a high aspect foil that there is a learning curve, and they express you have to be patient, and a lot of people just give up. And I just think it just takes a little while for the body and brain to process the information. But if you know how to foil with other foils, I think over time, if you give it enough repetitions, it'll happen. At least that's the theory. Okay, so I managed to get on, do a couple pumps. It felt really good. Man, it really does not require a lot of pumping energy compared to the HS1850. The HS1550, I felt like you really had to exert a lot of force for me. But this high aspect wing, the 1525, even when you're gliding, it feels like it wants to lift. And when I pumped, it just went. Now, what I did find was that, like I said before, it is laterally, for me, a little bit twitchier, and I think they designed it that way so that it's easier to tack and jibe. But finding that balancing point while you're pumping, I think might take a little bit of time. All right, so we got a couple pumps out of it. Awesome. So, the last time I was out for 30 minutes, this is what happened. I would feel like, okay, I got some pumps out of it, try it again, bail right away. Then I would do it again, bail right away, and then I'd squeeze out 20 pumps. And I'm just still trying to figure out that landing point. That log that's sticking out right there, it is throwing me off because as soon as I launch, I do have to start veering off to the left, and this foil is a little bit twitchier moving laterally, so that's what's I think throwing me off a little bit. But you just keep going. All right, it's really important that you land on the right spot. It's very sensitive, and once you land on the first spot, on the right spot, you don't have to pump very hard. I was struggling to find the balance, and I was pumping along, and I wasn't pumping hard, just taps, very light taps, and the foil was going. Feels like it has a very low stall speed, and so even when I was traveling really slow, just a light tap would send the foil going. So that's good. Once you dial in, I think, that balance point, and you have that balance point, I can see why people are foiling for minutes on end. It is possible. It feels like once you dial in that balance point, you're really comfortable, because it doesn't take very much to get the foil going. That time I had my weight a little bit too far forward. So like I said, as opposed to the HA1525, you really have to get that landing spot precise or make very quick adjustments. And I'm still trying to figure it out. Okay, there, I think I got the landing. Now it's figuring out how much pressure to pump with. And again, the lateral stability it's different for me coming from the HS1850. This takeoff is causing me a little bit of grief because right off the top I have to start steering to the left, and because I don't really have that lateral stability dialed in, it's tricky to just right off the top start going left. I'm trying to see if it might be possible to do it somewhere else. There really is no alternative here. I've got a huge log. I'm not going to be able to move it. It's like wedged in the ground, sticking out. So this is my only option. We'll have to make it work. think I'm gonna take off from here and try shooting out right away. Gives me a little bit more space. I'm gonna jump more outwards towards my left, so I can just go straight from my landing spot rather than having to start turning left immediately. Yeah, that's what we'll do. By the way, isn't this amazing? It's April, and where I'm at right now, it's going to hit 25 degrees around there and thereabouts in the sun. The water's not that warm, that's for sure. 25 degrees is about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. The air doesn't feel that warm. It probably feels closer to 20 degrees or just under, which is about 7 degrees Fahrenheit. The water is still really cold. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I just run along here, and I'm gonna try to jump and turn the board outward immediately before I even land on the board. Then when I land on the board, I can just try going straight. We'll give that a try. Something else that I've noticed, the foil likes speed. Well, every foil, I think, to a certain point, likes speed, especially on the launch. It gives you a little bit, well, a lot more stability. So I'm going to try to accelerate a little bit more on my takeoff, and when I land, hopefully I'll have a little bit more speed to give me more stability. So that's one of the major differences I'm finding with the 1850 HS and the HA1525 is 1525 wants, it still has a low stall speed, it feels like, but laterally it's twitchier. So if you want more stability, you want more speed. Okay, good. Yeah, that speed off the takeoff really helps. You land and then you want to get that first little pump tap to get going. Again, it doesn't take a lot to get that foil moving. It really wants to fly. So get some speed off takeoff, land, start tapping again. When I'm making that turn, I'm just finding it tricky to find that balance and to control the turn. I felt like I was turning to the left and then I would lose my balance and my balance would go to the right, and then I would try to pump and correct it. And if I could use an analogy of driving, if you're hydroplaning or on snow and you're slipping and you're sliding, and it's kind of like that counter steering, and you don't want to oversteer or then you just completely lose your balance. So it's really just controlling the amount of correction. And another thing I noticed is you could feel that mast torquing. There's so much wingspan at 120 centimeters that you can feel all that translating into the mast. I could really feel that stiffness in the mast, and even with that stiffness, you could still feel it sort of torquing. So it's good that I'm using the 795 performance mast because it's stiffer, stronger. Because with a regular mast, you would really be able to feel the mast bending with the pressure. All right, let's try it again. Okay, yeah. Key is you need speed off that launch. More speed I find than my previous foil, the 1850. Again, that turn. So I feel like I could keep going straight, but the problem is if I keep going straight right now, then I might end up in the middle of this little lake. Makes the swim back really hard if I fall. And I'm not that confident that I won't fall in the middle of the lake. So I'm trying to teach myself how to do a left turn. And if I could do that a number of times around here, then I'm pretty confident at one point I can go from here all the way to that dock on the other side, where I normally shoot from. I normally film in that dock way over there, but because the weather's so nice today, we have people sunbathing. That's why they're in the sun and we're in the shade. All right, let's go. But I just want to add, I'm super excited to get this dialed in. Once I think a couple more sessions, and I'll really begin to feel that intricate balancing point on that foil. Once you have that dialed in, I mean, we're going to go for minutes instead of just 50 or 60 pumps. We're going to try to shoot for not 50 minutes, but we'll start out with something reasonable like a minute. We'll start making increments up, but this foil is going to make that possible, I think, because you just have to tap it and it goes. So once you find that rhythm and that sequence and all that stuff, I think people will be able to really push the limits on how long they can foil. I slipped a little bit on that takeoff. The other thing I was thinking of is every now and again I'll catch myself when I'm pumping just to gauge the tension in my body. And right now I am so tense. My body is really trying to figure out how to balance, how to pump and coordinate all those things. And I could feel that tension. I guess you need repetitions over and over and over again, and then your body will just begin to relax. Because you want to be in a state of relaxation to allow your body to just feel the flow of the water and the board. But it's hard to consciously implement that when you're just figuring it out from the beginning. So I'm gonna hope right from the beginning, I'm gonna just hope and remind myself to stay relaxed, calm. Yes. All right, that felt really good. It's amazing what happens if you just calm down. So that was my thought right before I went that last time. I didn't think about anything else except stay calm. And I think I had enough repetitions that my body kind of had a feel for it. And then when I reminded myself, be calm, relax, my body and mind were able to sync up. It only took 47 minutes. But we're going. All right, let's do it again. All right, so yeah, I was going along. You feel like you're in a rhythm, starting to make a turn, and then all of a sudden, that lateral stability again comes into play. And so I was turning to the left, and then I tried to go straight, and I felt I was leaning too far heel side, and it just bucked me off. All right. So that's one of the things that I wanted to avoid, is to just get caught pumping straight out and then falling and then having to swim all the way back. But it's helping my swimming. So when I learn how to prone, I'm gonna be a really good paddler. So there, I was pumping away, but I couldn't dial in that precise balancing point. So I was just pumping away, trying to adjust my feet slightly with each pump. But I'm telling you, with each pump, you're just going. The foil just wants to fly. So that's how I kept going straight out, because I was just doing little taps to figure out that balancing point. And while I was doing those little taps, the foil was just pumping me out further and further into the lake. So that's one good thing about this foil, is it likes speed, it wants to go, it wants to travel, it glides really well. I'm just trying to figure out that, again, that lateral stability. I think I have to remind myself to relax. I'm thinking too much. So when you're thinking, you're just like all stiff, and your body can't react because it's so stiff. So I just have to free my mind, remind myself to take deep breaths, relax, and feel the flow. right, that was really interesting. So I was in a rhythm, and I was pumping back, and I wanted to do a couple big pumps to see what would happen, and it bucked me off. It was just, if your technique and that hard pump isn't precise, it'll throw you off balance. So that's one of the things, is if you're doing light taps, you can keep it going, no problem. It's easier to go and control the foil. But if you pump hard, and depending on how you pump, it's very responsive. So I think my technique is just a little bit off. That's why when I pumped really hard, it wanted to turn to the right, because I guess that's what it's translating into the foil. So it is really responsive. It reacts exactly what you're trying to tell it to do. So I inadvertently told it to go to the right, but in my head I was saying go straight, just a hard pump, and it just sort of threw me off to the right because my technique was off. So really cool. This foil is, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, so who this foil is for, I guess someone who has the ability to turn and pump. It's not for the beginner. The beginner, I would advise going with something closer to what I started out with, which was the 1850 HS version 2, or even you could go bigger with the Carve series with the Armstrong stuff. But as a beginner, I wouldn't recommend the high aspect. It's really sensitive, so you want more forgiveness to begin with. If you're advanced or an intermediate, like this is my second session, and I can get around and I can pump a little bit, and I think it'll only take me a couple more sessions before I really dial it in. But definitely, as a beginner, you want to be working with something a little bit more forgiving. But man, if you're intermediate, advanced, this is fun. For me, it's a lot of fun because I could feel that responsiveness. I could feel it wanting to it's like a wild horse just wanting to go. And right now it's bucking me. But at some point, once I begin to tame it a little bit, or tame myself and figure out how to really work the foil, it's going to be a lot of fun. This foil is interesting because I'm trying to find that center point of balance, and I'm adjusting my spine angle and all of that, and I feels like it wants to turn. It doesn't feel like it likes going straight. It feels like almost like it's on an edge. It wants to be on an edge on one side or the other. And that center balance point is really thin. It's really precise. And if you dial it in, yeah, you could hit that center balance point consistently all the time. But if you go a little bit to one side, it wants to turn. So that's great. If you want to turn, you want to do jibes when you're winging. But if you just want to go straight, yeah, it just feels like there's a very thin or narrow balancing point. That time I landed too far back on the board. For me at this stage, I really gotta get that landing. That landing and that initial pump really sets up the sequence. much time are we at now? Yeah, we're at about an hour and 12 minutes. I think we're at that point where just maybe I don't have the stamina to really progress at this point. So we'll call it a day, but great day out on the water. Had a lot of fun. Hope you learned something, and get out there, have fun, and we'll see you on the water. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all of my future videos. All right, we'll see ya.